Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Home Tech Podcast. Jason Griffin here. Happy to have you with us for this, I guess what we could call a Thanksgiving special. I am joined, as always, by my partner, Seth Johnson. Seth, how's it going?
Oh, stuffed. I'm stuffed. Full of mashed potatoes.
It's that tryptophan.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
it.
fall asleep in like 10 minutes here, so it's going to be a short show.
Yeah, we're going to run through it quick. This is a busy time of year for both of us. I know you've got your first baby coming here. We were just talking about that before we recorded. Remind us, what's the due date?
December 20. So right around the corner. Any day now, really. I mean, you never know.
That's so exciting.
Yep.
I'm happy for you, and I know our listeners are as well. So we're definitely excited for that. But yeah, the holiday season is definitely here in full effect. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are traveling, probably listening to this podcast and out, doing the holiday shopping and all that. So we did want to put out a show this week and just catch up. I know there's a lot going on in terms of the holiday shopping season with technology in particular. And that's always a big deal and a fun thing for us to get together and chat about this time of year.
Yeah. There's plenty going on. There's a lot of like really cool products that have been introduced this year, especially in the Wi-Fi realm. The under what around like $200 or $300, you can get a really, really, really good Wi-Fi system.
Yeah.
Comparatively speaking, I mean, and then of course the big news this last week was Apple has basically pulled out of the Wi-Fi router business, and they're not going to be doing the Apple airports anymore.
That's right. I'm glad you brought that up because I had actually almost forgotten about that. And man, that strikes me as a really big deal. I have to admit, I have been traveling and I haven't had time to dive in and really read any analysis about that or try to figure out, what Apple's motivations are. But man, Apple Airport has been a mainstay in the consumer Wi-Fi space for years and years and years. So I have to say I was really surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I don't know what their end goals are. I mean, but maybe they just didn't want to redesign it again and kind of compete with all these, decent, like you go with Ubiquiti, you've got Eero, you've got Luma. There's a number of these products out there that are competing with the price point of an Airport Extreme that work just so much better because they're mesh networking technologies. And I can imagine Apple said, well, these guys are. I remember when they introduced the airports and they said, we really have to have a good, solid enterprise grade router in the house. And if you look back historically and say, what was there at the time? It was like the WRT routers, the blue ones, the Linksys ones that were just garbage. And then you had stuff that was worse than that. And then Apple came out with a $200 Airport Extreme, and it was great. I mean, it really did work well for everything you needed it to do. But I think the companies have kind of leapfrogged Apple, and there's really no reason to be using an Airport Extreme at this point. I think they can probably be retired. They're still good, but every 2 or 3 years, you probably do need to rotate out your router for something better. They do wear out. Routers are just little tiny computers that are on all day taking hits from electricity.
Right.
I mean, they wear out. You don't think they would. They're dedicated appliances, but they definitely wear out and will stop working, or some little tiny part of it will stop working, and you suffer because of that. You may not even know you're suffering from that. You may get a little choppy video, or like we're having Skype problems,
Yep.
I probably need to rotate out the airport in my house.
Yeah, might be time.
Yeah.
Might be time.
There's plenty of stuff out there that I can use. So.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, I know you got a Ubiquiti Amplify unit. We had gentlemen on from Ubiquiti a number of months ago, and they sent a unit out your way to kick the tires on. Do you have that up and running? How's it going?
I do. It's going actually really well. I'm really impressed with the product, and I'm hoping to have a video review of it out. It's the HD one, which I don't think is available just yet. They've got a couple of different models, it looks like. So the Amplify is just the little router box thing with the screen on it, which I thought was kind of hokey, but the screen is actually pretty cool. and then they have an LR version, which is $299, and that's the mesh networking one that would kind of compete with the Eero and the other Luma products that are out there. That one I did not get. They actually sent me the HD version, so this thing supposedly covers up to 20,000 square feet.
20,000?
20,000. I'm nowhere near that in my house.
Wow.
I'm not even like 10% of that, I guess, or whatever it is. So hopefully in a 1,600 square foot house, we'll be able to get some decent performance out of it. And I am so far. I've been pretty impressed with what it can do.
20,000 though, not 2,000.
Yeah. It's a 20,000 square foot is what it says it can do. I don't have a 20,000 square foot home I can test it in. I used to.
Maybe someone listening does. You can take it over there. And
I actually know where there's a 24,000 square foot home in the area. But I don't have access to it anymore, unfortunately.
Oh man. Well, yeah, the Wi-Fi category is definitely exploding. I did a piece for Residential Systems talking about that just this week, and it's definitely a big one. I can think of a handful of those that are out there recently. You mentioned a couple. I know we just recently had Ram Malasani, I hope I'm saying that correctly, from Secuirty. They've got the Almond 3 out now. They've been doing the the touch screen on the router. That was kind of their initial claim to fame there, but they've been doing that for quite a while. And the Almond 3 just came out. That's a pretty neat looking product, and I know that's one that's actually kind of on my list. I think you have a lot of choices now when it comes to putting together a nice mesh Wi-Fi system. I think one of the things that they're doing that's really smart, and we've talked about it, and I think I'm probably at risk of sounding like a fanboy here. I've been sort of raving about it since we had them on, but I just think they've put together such a smart feature set with the Almond 3. And the thing that really is compelling to me is that, we just bought a home a few months ago and it doesn't have a security system. And I'm just a little bit hesitant to pay for a monthly monitoring from a company like ADT. And so I'm considering the self-monitoring route, the fact that they've built that sort of functionality into the Almond 3, which is a product that I need anyways on its own merits as a Wi-Fi system, to me was a very smart move and pretty compelling. And so I'm looking pretty hard at that one. And I know, actually got a call from my dad who listens to the show occasionally, I'm happy to say. And they've got about 5,000-6,000 square foot house down in Arizona. And they've been having a lot of battles with Wi-Fi dead spots there. And he heard the show and was very interested as well. So there is, some consumer awareness raising up around these mesh Wi-Fi solutions. And I think they offer a great opportunity. And so anybody out there kind of thinking about holiday gifts or, that sort of thing for friends or family, definitely Wi-Fi, a mesh system now is actually something you can talk about, whereas these things used to cost, thousands of dollars.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to go wrong with them. I mean, the Eero is getting really good reviews out there these days. I think Ubiquiti would probably get just as good reviews if you could get their product. It seems like they have like a pretty low stock on it everywhere, which is kind of tough. I understand it's hard to ship product that's kind of popular, but if it's not there, people aren't going to be able to buy it. They're going to find the competitor and go that direction. So
right.
I think it's even with that Almond, and it's really hard to go because I mean that's what $150 for the Almond 3, and then you can just get another one and make a Wi-Fi mesh network out of those. So that's a pretty good setup that you can get out of it with the self-monitored security thing. I also am looking for a self-monitored / security system, and I was looking at the Lowe's Iris system this last week. And if you've already got the Wi-Fi thing taken care of, for about that $150 mark, you could actually get a decent self-monitored security system through Lowe's, which I thought was pretty cool. Like I think the hub is $50 or $60, and then the security kit was about $100. So yeah, there's options out there.
Yeah, the Iris is kind of one of those players that's really been around, I think, since we started the show, almost at least, which was about 2.5 years ago. They were one of the hubs that came out in that big push that when, all of them were sort of coming out with hubs. You had Staples and Smart Things and Lowe's, and everybody all around kind of that same time was coming out. Lowe's has been there, and they've been slow and steady. I think I don't see a lot of splashy headlines with the Lowe's Iris Hub, although we do, of course, see headlines occasionally. I do feel like they've been one that's just been consistent, and when I do hear things about that hub, they generally tend to be good. So that's, I think, another great option. I think that the self-monitored security solutions are such a powerful option for consumers. Security is definitely a very big driver for people looking to get into the smart home for the first time. And so I think any company that's positioned to take advantage of that's going to be in a pretty good place.
Yeah, and another option you have that's on sale right now is actually the Canary. I think they were $199. They dropped to $179, and now they're $150 for the holiday. And that's basically a little camera thing. I've got one. I stuck it in my house, and my wife does not like the camera aspect of it. So I stuck it out in the garage, and it seems to like living out there. I get little notifications if something goes on in the garage between certain hours, and I can go back and review the video. I don't have to pay monthly for it, as long as I go and look at the video within that 24-hour span that they keep it. But I've been pretty happy with it. It does what it really needs to do for me, and gives me a little view and window into my garage when, it's kind of part of the house, but it's separated enough. I wouldn't know if somebody went in there, and we do have problems in the neighborhood. The little reported things that you get from the neighbors where, somebody down the street left their garage open and somebody walked in and took some tools or whatever. That seems to happen quite a bit around here. And, having the camera in there, I might be able to catch whoever came in and did that if I was to leave the door open and weren't around. So it's there. A little bit of extra security for $150. Not bad.
Yeah, it's a nice little device. And I think $150 is a pretty compelling price point. I'd be curious. I know you live down in Florida where the weather is pretty consistent. I just don't think clearly it wouldn't be ideal, but I just wonder how it would stand up to somebody like myself living in Denver. In the winter, the garage is obviously pretty cold. And in fairness, obviously the Canary's not meant to be outside. It's good you're able to get that use out of it, but it does call to mind that
they did come out with some outdoor cameras. So if
they did, they do have. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you don't need the indoor aspect of it, you can get the little outdoor cameras that they have, and they look up the stick up cams that Ring has, and I even think they had like
Canary Flex.
Yeah. So yeah, that may be an option for you.
So yeah, the Canary Flex, I think that is a smart product. I don't know that there's any specials on that for the holiday season that I've seen anyways. It's about a $200 device, but that is one area, what I was getting to by saying that was basically a long way of getting to the fact that I think outdoor cameras are really an area where there's probably still quite a bit of unmet demand. The Canary Flex, Nest has their outdoor camera that they just came out with. And then obviously from there, you've got more like professionally installed hardwired solutions. There are plenty of those, but just kind of a straight do-it-yourself outdoor camera option. Not a lot of them out there. I think the Canary Flex, to me, if I was looking in that realm, or if I knew somebody who was and I was looking to get them, something nice for the holidays, that would probably be the one I would choose. I like the fact that they engineered that one with some flexibility. So it has the option to be battery powered, or you can hardwire it to power it that way. And so I think that's a nice bit of flexibility. The Nest one we've talked about before. Not going to spend a bunch of time going into it, but I think from a software perspective, I've got a couple drop cams at home, and I love the Nest app. I think they've done a beautiful job with that. But from a hardware perspective, that outdoor camera to me was just kind of a miss. That power cord is just too much to deal with and too easy to tamper with for, a would-be intruder or something like that. And so hopefully they'll come out with a better option there. I think their software is really solid. And right now, I think Canary Flex would probably be, if anyone emailed me and said, hey, I need an outdoor camera, that would be the one that I would point them to.
Yeah, it goes down to 14 degrees. So I don't know if that's too low or, I mean, that I think if that happened here.
Is that the Flex?
The Flex, yeah. I think that if that happened here, we would die.
It would be the apocalypse.
Yeah, it would be over.
Yeah, 14 degrees, that should do it in Colorado. I think maybe out in, Minnesota or something like that, that might be an issue. But thankfully, we don't get quite that cold here.
Yep, I have to watch the other side of that, the 122 degrees, which sometimes it feels like it's that hot, but it's really never over 90 or here because of the sea breeze we have. So It's kind of nice.
Yep.
Speaking of outdoor cameras, you got Ring, which also has outdoor cameras, but also has the doorbell, and they're $50 off. You can find them for this Black Friday, so not too bad.
Yeah, I love the Ring in concept. Again, it's one we've talked about before that I've always been a little hesitant to spec from a professional perspective, just because we do have to warranty everything that we sell. And, these things are Wi-Fi devices on the outside of a building, often mounted to brick or stone. And that just has led us to see some reliability issues when it comes to the video streaming aspect of it. But I'm really excited for the Ring Elite, which we talked about on our CDO wrap-up episode. They told us at the time they're looking to ship that in early 2017, so I'll be really excited for that. Hope to get one of those in and kick the tires on it, because for us just to have that sort of video doorbell functionality, consumers are asking for that constantly. And if we have a good option that we can hardwire, put it on the Ethernet, keep it inexpensive and simple, purpose-built, that's a great option. But yeah, so for their holiday special, for their Black Friday special, they've got $50 off the Ring and the Ring Pro. You can go to their website, and it says use a promo code GIVERING, all one word on that one. So that's a good Black Friday special. I know that's a hugely popular device. We get questions about it all the time from our customers.
Yep. And I have pretty much wrapped up the Control 4 driver for it, for just the events, not the awesome video portion of it. We're not doing the video. We're just doing like the ring and the motion detection on it, which is cool. I mean, it's really all I need, because the app honestly does a great job of handling the video and all of the history and events that happen. Yep. Like I can go back and look on the app. I don't really need to have that in my Control 4 app, but being able to automate and do fun things off of the doorbell press, or if it detects motion at night, it can turn on some outdoor lighting. I think that's all you need. Yep. It extends the feature sets that it can do. So I'm real excited about it. And hopefully we'll have that shipping shortly.
Yep. Definitely. Well, yeah, like I said, I've got a couple of drop cams at home, get a ton of use out of those. I'm really a big fan of them. I've had them for a number of years. I know that the Nest Cam, which is basically kind of a souped up, upgraded version of the drop cam after they acquired the company, is also Black Friday special. So it looks like $150 down from $200 at Walmart and Target. So definitely some good deals to be had in that sort of security and home monitoring space for sure.
Yep, definitely. So let's talk about voice control, because there's a lot of good deals and really cool product that you can get. I mean, Echo, Google Home, these are great, and they're offering for less now of course, this holiday, but through the holiday season, you can pick these up for a couple bucks less.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, because I know you've got an Echo at home, and so you've got some direct experience. This is a category that I need to roll up my sleeves and get implemented here in my home personally. I think it's just a fun technology and very handy and worth investing a little bit of money into. So I'm looking at those. I'm just a little bit torn, and I think a lot of consumers are in the same place I am right now, where it's like Google Home and Echo, those really are the front runners. Echo, I know, is doing some Black Friday stuff. I think what I saw, looking at my notes here, $180 down to $140. So the main, the big Echo, the main one they have is $140, which is down from $180. Echo Dot, $10 off. So you can get those now. The Echo Dot for $40. And then I think the Echo Tap was on sale, but I don't know that one is really all that compelling to me. So interested in those. And then you've got Google Home, which I think they're going to bump that price up to $129 at some point, but right now $99 for that one, which, so you're basically Google Home versus the original Echo. That would be your closest apples to apples comparison, clearly. And so you're looking at about $100 for Google Home, about $140 for Echo. I don't know. Which one would you do, Seth?
I would say right now, Amazon's still the place to be. Yeah. Google Home doesn't have an API. It doesn't really integrate with anything other than the launch partners that they announced with. And even there, it's limited. They're just getting started with the product. So even, I mean, you can save that $30, or you can invest into something that actually ships with some working stuff right now. And I'd say the Echo is the way to go. Either the Dot, or the Dot, from what I hear, doesn't have like really all that great voice recognition. So like getting the big tube Echo thing, that's really the one you want to get if you want it to perform really well. But the Dot works just as well too. I mean, it's just not as good. It still will integrate and do all the cool services and home automation stuff that you may want to do with it. So I would say Echo at this point. I've been living and using it, and it's kind of, I don't use anything to do with home automation on it, believe it or not. I still haven't connected it to my Control 4 system, which would be probably the easiest thing for me to do. But I yell at it every day and say, hey, give me the news. And it kind of does this little rundown. Tom Merritt over there on the Daily Tech News Show has a little skill, or I don't even know what it's called, that you can add in. And I get a decent amount of tech news from it, right after BBC News. So it's pretty cool. I like it. And I would definitely recommend going that route. One big thing, we did order these Google Homes for work, and we got them in, and then figured out that you can't actually connect them to what Google is calling now G Suite, which is Google Apps, which is pretty much all of your work data and all your work calendars and your entire work life. So useless.
Yeah.
We sent them back instantly.
Yeah, that's crazy. I went on Mike Wolf's show, for listeners who may not be familiar, the Smart Home Show. Great podcast. And Mike had me on last week. That show just went live, I think, a couple of days ago. And we were having the same conversation, and he was talking about Google Home and mentioned the fact that it does not tie into any of your data if you use Google Apps. So like we use Google Apps to run the HomeTech podcast, for example. And so anything on our HomeTech.fm calendars would not be accessible from the Google Home. And I was really surprised to hear that.
It's insane.
I have to say that was something I did not expect. Was glad that came up. It definitely will affect my decision. And I have to imagine that's something that Google will move pretty quickly to address.
But will they? I mean, they don't have the history of dedicating, things to their products like this. So
that's true.
It just makes me nervous that something as simple, I don't want to say it's simple, but something as straightforward as integrating your work life and your home life into this Google Assistant, it should be able to be done. And it just seems like a huge miss. So, maybe they'll do it. If we look back in like 6 months and they don't have it done, then I would not have a favorable forecast for the Google Home. So Echo, pick one up.
Well, hey, that's good. So you're definitely on the Echo side of the fence. And I think that's kind of where I was leaning anyways. We'll see. We're kind of getting through the holiday season here and not looking to make any purchases ourselves for at least a couple of months till the dust settles there. And so I've got a little bit of time to see how things shake out. But I think the voice control is a fun technology and something I'm definitely looking to get implemented. One of the other main things that I want to start doing in the home that we just bought a few months ago is some lighting control. And, we're mainly going to go down the Lutron road, I'm sure, with that. But I did see that the Philips Hue starter kit is $120 for Black Friday. And so that's down from $180. And that basically gets you I think they call it a bridge. It's like their little hub. And 3 of the Philips Hue light bulbs. And I know that's a hugely popular product. It's integrated with just about everything out there I can think of. It's one of the staples that these connected products come to market with, that integration. Amazon Echo has it. I believe Google Home has it. And pretty much every control company out there is looking to Philips Hue. So they've got a very big install footprint, really popular product, and $120 gets it a little more compelling, but that's still, it's a lot of money. Like, I hate to say it because we come from that professional space where $120 for any sort of lighting control system is, pennies. But for a consumer and for myself, when I'm in that position, $120 essentially for like 3 light bulbs is a lot of money. And so it's an investment, but I think a pretty cool looking product.
Yeah. So are you looking at Caseta, I guess? Is that what you're looking at for
Yeah,
Lutron?
most likely.
Yeah.
Most likely. When we go down that road, we'll probably look at Caseta. I think my house is probably small enough that that'll work. I know there are some range limitations and device
There
counts
really
and stuff.
aren't. I mean, it's pretty solid. From we put it in some pretty large homes the last job I was at, and the range limits,
Well,
I think they just put on there to kind of cover themselves. But
Yep.
yeah, we put them in some pretty large, townhomes or homes in general. Didn't have any problems with. The only issue that we would have would be like Pico talking back to the hub. If the hub was put inside the rack, in the worst possible Faraday cage location possible.
Yep.
Yep. That was a problem. But otherwise, I mean, that Clear Connect stuff is pretty solid.
Good to know. Yeah, I love lighting control. It's probably my favorite category that we sell at our business. I think lighting control and shades are just really, not only are they cool and, a fun thing to have in your home, but I just think they add, real tangible value, very functional, very usable. And so lighting control, definitely something that we're looking to do. It'll just be just a question of time. It's busy around the Griffing house right now, but yeah, I love it. It's a great category, and I think ties right in with voice control. Philips Hue is a fun product. I don't know that I see it as functional as Lutron. It seems to be more of an entertainment thing. I know a buddy of mine named Nolan, who occasionally listens to the show, who I worked with out in Los Angeles, sent me a really cool video of his place. He's done a ton with the Philips Hue. He's kind of an artistic guy, and he has it integrated with Echo at his home, and so sent me a video of all the control that he was doing and different colored lights coming on all over his living room, and it was pretty neat, I have to say. But just from a day-to-day functionality standpoint, something like a Caseta much more appealing to me.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of how I've always felt about Philips Hue. Is kind of like a toy, really. I know you can do some pretty fancy stuff with it, but like you said, at those price points, what was $180 down to $120 for 3 light bulbs, it's tough to, because sometimes your switch may have more than 3 light bulbs, right? It may have like 4 in the ceiling or something.
Right.
That gets really expensive really, really quickly. So, as opposed to, what is a $90 or $100 switch from Caseta, versus, $30 or $40 for, a light bulb. That's tough.
Right.
That's real tough.
Right. Well, speaking of expensive, Seth, I know this is one you're going to jump on right away. The Samsung Family Hub refrigerator. It's only $4,000 now, down from $6,000.
Is this the one that somebody had somehow taken a picture of with porn on it inside of the Home Depot?
I never saw that. Did that really happen?
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's funny.
Yes, it actually happened, and somebody took a picture of it and posted it online. I'll have to go back and find it.
Yeah, it's the big refrigerator with the touchscreen in it. I see they're having a $2,000 sale on that, which is pretty significant, actually. That's such a big decrease in price. It actually kind of makes me wonder if this is not selling as well as they had hoped it would.
There is so much markup in white goods. There's so much money to be had there. So it probably is fine. They're probably still making money at that price point, and then they'll probably roll out a new model that'll be $6,000. I mean, these refrigerators are just ridiculously priced, and a $2,000, $3,000 premium for a refrigerator with a TV in it. I don't understand. Even at $4,000, I still don't understand it. But if you can do that and you want to do that and have porn on your refrigerator, it's all you.
Yeah, I looked at one of those at Home Depot the other day, and it had this. I was just like poking around on the touchscreen to try and figure out, like, is this, would this really be useful? And it had this feature where you could just push a button on this really large touchscreen, and it would flip to a camera that was inside the refrigerator.
And have to open the door.
I was just like, I pushed it, and it took like, a solid, it was probably only a second, but it felt like 5 or 10 at that point, because you're just thinking in your mind, you're like, why don't I just like open the door? I just don't. And so I don't know. It was kind of goofy. I'm not totally sold on that one, but hey, if you're if you see the value in it, then now's the time, because $2,000 is a pretty big discount.
Yep. Go pick one up. Let us know how you like it.
Please do. Exactly. That rolls right into kind of the smart things conversation. I know we chatted about smart things. Gosh, it's hard to believe, but it would have been a year ago on our last Black Friday special, and it was a product that I had mentioned being interested in, or maybe one that people would want to look at as a sort of a stocking stuffer for the smart home enthusiast. And at the time, we got some feedback that, maybe not, maybe it still needs a little bit of work, but it's continued to plug away. And I think like any product, you kind of hear mixed reviews, and they're still very much a player. And they are on sale, I believe, for $50 for the Smart Things Hub, and that's down from $100, and that's on Amazon. So that's a pretty good deal if you're looking to get started in the smart home. They've got a pretty robust ecosystem. Like I said, there's going to be mixed reviews out there. I think you're going to find that with just about anything, and they've got a wide enough install base now that I think that's one of those products you can trust with a relative degree of certainty to be around, 2, 3, 4 years from now, and going to be a player. So $50 to get started. I mean, that's a pretty compelling price point.
Yeah, that is really good. I think they're in it for the long haul. They've developed such an ecosystem around this product, and if you go to their website, they're doing smart home right. I mean, you look at it, there's little packs of different types of devices that you can get for doing different kind of activities, like monitoring security, lighting and energy, entertainment. I mean, it's smart things. It's smart how they're actually selling it and putting it together online for people to see how they're doing. So, I think you and I have always been bullish on smart things as a product. But I think the feedback we've gotten over the years has been kind of, like a wait and see. I tried this out. It doesn't work as well as it looks like it works, but I'm curious here as we're coming up onto the end of another year, how well, if anybody is using smart things, let us know, because it certainly does look like a compelling product. It looks like a compelling ecosystem for somebody who is, interested in getting started, because it's not like completely smart things oriented. Like, you're not getting, I'm thinking of Apple HomeKit, of course, like where you're buying a product that is HomeKit compliant, but it's not necessarily going to work with smart things. If you buy sensors and light switches and that kind of thing for your smart things, it could be like a Z-Wave switch, right? So It's going to work with something else if you don't like your smart thing set up. So I think it's a good, to me, it looks like a good ecosystem to at least dip your toe in and dabble, see if you like dealing with any of this stuff that adds frustration to your life. And if it doesn't add frustration to your life, hey, there you go. Even better.
You got it. Well, speaking of smart things, something that I've never really seen intelligence built into in my hands-on experience, but it seems to be like, I was looking around and it's like this exploding category. I had no idea.
Not cell phones.
Robot vacuums. They seem to be everywhere. I was searching around for, kind of home technology Black Friday specials, and there are way more of these things out there than I realized. And I have to say, I have no experience with them. I would be curious to know if anybody listening does, reach out to us. Probably on Twitter is the best way, at HomeTech Podcast. And let me know. I feel like I missed the boat on this, but we still do it the old-fashioned way. We break out the vacuum on a Sunday afternoon and go to town. So maybe I'm doing it wrong.
Well, you might be, Jason. I don't know. Well, I can tell you, somebody who has owned one of those iRobot thingies for probably 6 years. I've used it maybe twice, and other times, the house actually gets vacuumed using a real vacuum cleaner that does a real good job. I've never been impressed with the iRobot, at least the one that I have, and it kind of scoots across the floor and maybe kind of moves dust around and does get clogged up quite a bit. But the biggest problem I had with it, it seems to pick up dust, but it also, like, there's maintenance involved. Like, when you have a vacuum cleaner, the maintenance you have is basically change out the bag when it, gets too full, right? This thing, you have to empty it every time, and you have to get in there and clean all the dust out from the sprockets, and get the hair out of between the roller and everything. And it's like, if you don't do that maybe 2 or 3 times, it's not performing well. It's not performing very well. It's just kind of like more work goes into cleaning this little thing than it actually saves me time, like sticking on the floor.
Would be just to like vacuum the floor.
Right. And
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it just depends on who you are and how much dust you have in your house, I guess. But, we had a cat at the time, and it was kind of a nightmare. So, the new ones now, the Nito brand that's out there, looks really interesting, because unlike unlike iRobot, which is kind of like rolls across the floor and bumps into something and then kind of changes a random direction and goes off in another direction. Like, this actually maps out your floor. It's got a computer inside of it. It maps out the floor plan. It does really smart things around, like, going through and vacuuming. So if it does a better job of cleaning the floor, where they don't have to, like, after the robot goes, I have to go and use the real vacuum to clean up the stuff that the robot randomly missed. Like, that might be something I would look at. And it has like an app and an API. So we're actually looking at writing a Control4 driver for it.
How funny.
Yeah. So it's funny you were looking at these, and then I've been looking at them too for work. And it's like, what can we do to make these things work with the automation system?
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of backed into it. Like I said, it wasn't something I was really actually looking for, but, gosh, I just see them everywhere, and they're not cheap. No. I think one of them I saw was like $800. That's pretty expensive. I know that we have a vacuum at home that we love and just bought not too long ago, a Dyson, and gosh, we felt like that was crazy expensive, and I think it was, I don't know, maybe $300 or $400. And so, $800 for a vacuum is pretty crazy, and I just was very surprised at seeing a few of these, being advertised on these Black Friday sites. And like I said, maybe there's something I'm missing, and maybe there are people out there. The other thing is, I envision my house with 2 very young children, and the amount of, just toys and, rock and plays and all this other stuff that ends up on the floor. And I just can't see how a vacuum would ever deal with that on a day-to-day basis. When we vacuum, everything's got to get picked up and dealt with. And so, maybe we're not their target market necessarily, but there are a lot of young families out there where vacuuming is a pain point. But I just don't see how one of these robotic vacuums would ever help us get around that at this stage of our lives.
Yep. Well, I would say I understand, but I'll get back to you in a couple weeks.
Soon enough.
Right.
Well, anyways, let's wrap up here on a couple of AV devices. We've talked a lot about, connected home, security, smart home stuff, but, we can't forget about the audiovisual stuff. And I know TVs are a huge deal on Black Friday. I didn't spend a ton of time digging through these because, quite honestly, I'm not in the market right now. But if I was, I dug up a couple that I thought were pretty good deals. I have to say they're going to be on the higher side on the Black Friday spectrum. I know a lot of people are looking for TVs this time of year, $600-$700. There are some screaming deals to be had out there for very, very cheap TVs. That I totally get, but I was looking for, a couple of models that I felt like were very high quality TVs for really a pretty bargain price point. One of them I came across was an LG 55-inch, the B6 OLED, and that is now being sold for $1,800, and so that's down from an original MSRP of $4,000.
Wow!
And so, $1,800 still quite a bit of money for a 55-inch TV, which is the name of the game when it comes to OLED right now. It's a great technology, makes a beautiful TV, but still relatively expensive compared to LED. But $1,800 for this 55-inch, if you've got the money, it's got to be, it's going to be one of the best looking TVs on the market. So that's definitely one to take a look at.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and we say that like probably what a year or two that $1,500 or $1,800 TV will be $700, and the next year to be $500. I just picked up a 4K LG TV for, I think we paid, it's a 55-inch. We paid $500 for it, and we got a $175 gift card.
Wow.
And I used the gift card to buy a soundbar for it. So done.
You're all set.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, TVs really are a commodity now. And, we totally get that in our business, and we allow, our customers, I say that term advisedly. We in a lot of instances, we'll encourage them almost to just go out and shop for TVs. We're happy to provide them as a convenience, but we understand, the market for those. And, for some people, $500-$600, you go out and buy a pretty decent LED 4K TV nowadays, which is crazy to say, but you can do that. And, that'll be plenty good. I think that, if you want to step up into sort of the next tier up in terms of a quality TV, versus those real budget driven ones, Sony to me is where it's at. The Sony LED TVs are great. The 850D is kind of our go-to, that we recommend for people who are looking for a really good TV that they're gonna love and be able to use for a number of years without breaking the bank. And the Sony 850D is where we go with that. And I did see the 65-inch available now for $13.99, and that's down from $17.99. So again, a couple of TVs I found there that on the Black Friday spectrum and what most people are looking for and thinking about this time of year, these are going to be up at the high end of that spectrum. But for the quality of TV that you're getting, these are some pretty compelling price points.
Yeah, for 65-inch, what is it, 850D? I mean, the 850 series on Sony's, it's awesome. I mean, for that price, I'm just blown away for a 65-inch TV anyway. That's a great deal. That really is.
It is. Yeah, the 850 is a solid series. It's got all this, what you would expect, 4K HDR. It's an edge-lit TV, so it's pretty thin. Does a good job with backlighting and getting those black levels and very bright. And Sony's just generally known for producing a really good TV. So I think that, that's one that people should definitely be taking a look at. Sony and LG, probably two of my favorite brands. Samsung, of course, is a huge, huge name in TVs as well. And I don't think you can really go wrong with one of those either.
Right. Well, my AV picks are actually a little bit different. I'm kind of, I really don't need anything right now. I can tell you that. I've got pretty much everything wrapped up other than maybe a subwoofer for the Sonos system. But if I were looking at anything, this is usually the time of year we go out and we buy like a new PlayStation or something, that I will never play for the next 5 years. So the PlayStation 4s, there's actually some pretty good deals out there. I know my wife found at Kohl's, they're going to be giving a PlayStation 4. I don't even know what the model numbers or anything, but it'll be $250 and you get a $75 gift card, after that. So
wow,
not terrible. But this is generally the time of the year that we go out and we actually bought our PlayStation 3 on Black Friday just because, and I played a couple games on it, but I'm not a very big gamer. But I do, what I kind of want to dip my toe in one of these days is this VR thing that's hitting, and PlayStation has the little PlayStation VR for $500. I'm curious enough about that to kind of want one,
I'm with you.
Yeah. It's such a fringe, it feels like a fringe technology, but everybody who uses it says once you use it once, you understand why people are flipping out about this thing. So I'm pretty curious about it. I kind of want to get my hands on one, and see how well it works. I don't know how much, I'm not a very big gamer, but so I don't know how much I want to sink into it, but PlayStation, we usually have a PlayStation laying around the house for all the games that we have, and we could come to play one day if we're sitting around being bored. But if they have the little add-on for $500, maybe one day I'll pick that one up too when it drops in price for a Black Friday special.
Yeah. No, that's a great call. I was never a huge gamer myself, but I did go through a number of years there where I did get into doing some of it, really kind of the Call of Duty Battlefield type of thing. And it's a lot of fun. I did enjoy it. It just became a time thing. And someday I would like to get back into it. I thought it was a fun thing to do. And I do think I'm with you. The VR thing to me looks fascinating. So I'm really interested to see where that goes. But yeah, well, let's just kind of wrap this show up here. I think a lot of people are going to be out shopping this year, and we'd love to hear what people are interested in. We put this show together, but we'd love to hear some feedback from our listeners in terms of what you're going out and getting excited about this holiday season. So we'd encourage you to stop by our website. HomeTech.fm/feedback would be a great way to get a hold of us. And you can also do that on Twitter at HomeTech Podcast. We would definitely love to hear from you.
Yep. And if you snag something up, find a good deal on something, let us know too. We'd be more than happy to share that with everybody out there, because we're looking for deals this time of year.
Absolutely. All right, Seth. Well, I will let you go and hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend. And also want to mention here quickly, actually, before we wrap up, Seth and I are going to take next week off to enjoy a little bit of time with our families, and so we will resume our regular scheduled programming after that, but we are going to take 1 week off here just to kind of relax, enjoy a little bit of time around the holiday here with our family, and we'll look forward to reconvening the show here in a couple of weeks.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Seth. Enjoy your weekend.
Have a good one, Jason.